We have some major updates on this Miami Heat offseason and a star target in Kevin Durant after a brand new article was posted by one of the top insiders surrounding the game of basketball, highlighting the optimism between Kevin Durant and this Miami Heat team and the possibilities there is a link between the two in the soon-to-be future. We'll break down all of the new updates on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, please do remember to subscribe to the channel, as nearly 70% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed. We do appreciate all the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down the major Kevin Durant updates. And again, there are a lot of them. The first one is going to come from none other than Shams, as he broke down the entire situation of Kevin Durant this offseason in a brand new article that we are going to break down, as well as a graphic from Bobby Marks and a comment quote from Bobby Marks as well, one of the best financial insiders, if you will. It's not his exact really label, but again, when he breaks down the cap room and all of the aprons when it comes down to NBA teams and NBA organizations, Bobby Marks is very, very, very good at doing so. And again, we have a few quotes as well as graphics breaking down the Heat's offseason from Marks on this channel that we'll also get to in just a minute. But first, the article from Shams. And this is not a new conversation. Kevin Durant and this Miami Heat team have been linked for years for one reason or another. And now, after this past season when Durant almost got traded at the deadline from the Phoenix Suns, either to Miami or Golden State or anyone that really would pick up the phone and send back a king's ransom, would have gotten him. Obviously, Durant was not informed about this. It was a bit of a blindside from Ishbia and the rest of the Suns organization. And now it seems like he has to be moved this offseason in hopes that the Phoenix Suns can hope to put together a better overall just team on the court next season compared to what we saw this past year, where again, they weren't even close to getting into the playoffs despite having Durant, Booker, all these guys, and they still could not get the job done. Now back to the article. ESPN reporting, the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant's business partner Rich Kleinman are sorting through trade options with interested teams mainly featuring Houston, San Antonio, Minnesota, Miami, and New York. So again, before we even get into the depth of the article, Miami already being mentioned as one of the top teams that Kevin Durant could possibly land with this offseason, as him and his business partner, Rich Kleinman, are going through each and every trade scenario, each and every option that seems to be available, at least up to this point in the offseason, to see where Kevin Durant is possibly going to be playing basketball next season. Now, Shams would open up this article with the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant, business partner, Boardroom CEO Rich Kleinman, have met multiple times over the past week and are shifting through trade scenarios. Sources told ESPN on Wednesday the two sides are expected to work together on potential destinations. So again, working through different locations that Kevin Durant could end up landing this offseason, and really going through teams that he not only would have interest in, but will legitimately have a capability of going out there and trading for him this offseason. The article would go on to say the teams have expressed interest in Durant, sources said, mainly feature the Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, Miami Heat, Minnesota Timberwolves, and New York Knicks. Several wildcard suitors have also inquired on Durant in the past 7 to 10 days, sources said. Now, a lot of good teams are going to be in the running for Kevin Durant. It just comes down to really what is going to be the biggest trade package presented to Matt Ishbia and the Phoenix Suns, because it feels like they are going to take the closest thing to a king's ransom that they are offered. That whether it's from the Brooklyn Nets, whether it's from the Minnesota Timberwolves, or even the San Antonio Spurs, or even the New York Knicks for someone like Karl Anthony Towns and a collection of other players. Kevin Durant is going to deem a vastly large trade package in return, close to a king's ransom, just like we discussed back at the NBA trade deadline this past year, when Ishbia and the rest of the Suns organization, when they went behind Durant's back and hoped to trade him unexpectedly, they were hoping to force something in a short time period where teams would then be forced to give up an ample amount of assets for an aging star in Kevin Durant, who they'd only have a year and a half of control of. Again, that was at the time of the NBA trade deadline. Now you're in the offseason. You're going to have a little bit less time of control unless you give him a contract. And he's, again, has gotten older. There's no way around that. Durant, despite that, is still of an elite offensive production type of player, has an offensive repertoire that really does not end. Despite the age, he can do everything. And we all know this because he's done it for so long. Now, Shams would go on to say Suns officials and Kleinman will continue to meet on trade conversation with talks expected to escalate before the NBA draft later this month. So it seems like Durant, the Suns are all trying to get Durant moved before the actual NBA draft takes place, or at least we could assume the night of the draft before Matt Ishbia and the Suns have to go out there and make their picks and hope that they acquire more draft picks and more draft capital in hopes, or when they do trade Kevin Durant, could be a major contributing factor to when he is traded. If they can go out there and get a lot of draft capital from either the Spurs or whoever the team may be. If they do it before the draft, obviously it's going to be more valuable unless they get a bunch of later end picks, meaning 2026 and on. I highly doubt that. Seems like the Suns are going to want, again, as much as they can possibly get, including this year's draft class, as well as next year's, and probably the years following that, for someone in Kevin Durant. Now, the article goes on to say, once he is traded, Durant will be eligible to sign a 2-year contract extension on July 6th, worth as much as $122 million. If he were to wait 6 months after the trade, he could sign a 2-year extension worth $124 million. The NBA free agency market resets in the summer of 2026, with teams that have cap space increasing from just one this season, or this offseason. The Brooklyn Nets to half of the league. So again, next offseason in 2026, the vast majority of the teams, including this Miami Heat organization, are going to have a major spike in overall payroll and cap space, which could result in Kevin Durant waiting at least a year to get paid, which for the Miami Heat would not be a bad thing if they were able to acquire him, as again, Kevin Durant has gotten a little bit older in his career now, going into his age 37 season. He's been doing this for a long time. He's been very damn good for a long time. And again, the game has been the game. He can fill up the basket in absolute loads. There's no way around it. He can score in bunches, and there's no real way to stop Kevin Durant. Catch and shoot, put the ball on the ground, drive to the basket, shoot free throws. It does not matter. He can give it to you however you damn well choose to want it, and I would love to see him with this Miami Heat team. I think it would do a lot for the offense. Obviously, defensively would be interesting, but with Kel'el Ware, Bam Adebayo, Devion Mitchell, if the Miami Heat decide to re-sign him, which is taking way too long to get done up to this point in the year. But the Miami Heat are going to have great size, or have great length, and there's going to be a lot of good spots on the floor with defensive effort. There's just going to be other spots where it is diminished just ever so slightly, which could provide some problems for this Heat team. But again, with the 20th overall pick in this up-and-coming year's draft, as well as a little bit of cap room this year, and expected to be more when they do make some moves, whether it is Rozier, Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and Duncan Robinson, as well as Kevin Love, all either departing in one way or another. There should be a little bit more of a cap room there for this Miami Heat organization to go out there and acquire more defensive-minded wings that could allow and pick up some slack for someone like Durant or even Tyler Hero later on in the season. This is the graphic I was addressing earlier from Bobby Marks. Again, you don't see his name on it because I couldn't get the entire tweet with the graphic actually being visually pleasing where everyone could read it. So again, this came from Bobby Marks on Twitter. We also got this from him as well, a quote from him that Heat Culture ended up posting that was posted originally by ESPN NBA. So he goes on to say Bobby Marks ranks the Miami Heat 4th best for the Kevin Durant potential teams. Going on to say, Miami, I'm never going to rule out anything, but if you're looking at another 3 teams, I'm putting them behind them. Listen, if Durant says I want to go to Miami, that changes a lot here. And that is the end of the quote from Bobby Marks, and he's 100% right. If Kevin Durant decided to force his way and end up in Miami and play alongside players like Bam and Tyler Hero and Kel'el Ware, and the Miami Heat were able to maintain the size, and they got the boost offensively, they lacked severely last year, mainly because Bam Adebayo was a shell of himself offensively, it would still do a drastic number in helping this Miami Heat team being able to compete with a lot of the top competitors, not only in the Eastern Conference, but as well as in the league. Let me know down below what you guys think and your overall opinions on the idea of Kevin Durant possibly landing in Miami. Do you like the idea? Do you think it's likely? And if it does happen, what are the odds on the Miami Heat winning 45 to 55 games next season? Thank you guys for watching this episode of Heat Digest. I will see you guys on the next episode.